Water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. College is immortal just by these two lines. A poet of mysticism and willing suspension of disbelief. One of my favorite poets, just because he's totally different from the rest. The period of college poetical activity was very short. Most of his poems belonging to the years 1797 and 1798. His important poems are The Ancient Mariner, Christabel, Kubla Khan, and Love, all dream poems. If to these we add the fine odes, Dejection and France, the rest is negligible. Today, I'm going to tell you something about Coleridge as a poet and his qualities. His major qualities, the supernatural element in his poetry. In poems like The Ancient Mariner and Christabel, the supernatural fact is achieved by delicate suggestion and compelling strength of imagination. The supernaturalism of Coleridge is very difficult to the crude supernaturalism of the terror novelists. It is an atmosphere that suffuses the entire tale, the outcome of 100 delicate touches and subtle hints, made convincing to the reader by the profound psychological insight of the poet. Coleridge is a master of these delicate devices, which he uses with consummate mastery to produce a willing suspension of disbelief. Second quality is the medieval element. Medievalism as a vague atmosphere is present everywhere in Coleridge's poetry. The whole of The Ancient Mariner is wrought with the color and glamour of the Middle Ages, from the quaint embroideries of the merry minstrelsy to the central pattern of the Catholic idea of penance. Everywhere we see the medieval touch, the fateful crossbow, the vesper bell, the shriving hermit, the invocation to Mary Queen, yet there is no slavish attempt to reproduce another age. In Christabel again, we have the medieval atmosphere. There is an old moated castle with its heralds and pages, with its massive gate, iron within and without. We have the witch woman with the evil spell and the innocent victim. Again in Love, there is a medieval background of the ruined tower and the statue of the armed knight. The story sung is an old and moving story, a tale of chivalry about a knight and a lady. Third is his imaginative power. It is a Coleridge marvelous imaginative power that allows him so boldly to exploit the weird, the supernatural, and the obscure. His compelling imagination forces us to believe for the time the fantastic and the impossible which he describes. His simplicity of diction is another virtue. The abuse of archaic terms was one of the besetting sins of the Romantic poets. Coleridge, with finer instinct, appeals directly to the reader's imagination by writing with great clearness. The homely diction of medieval balladry has been used in The Ancient Mariner with an occasional archaism to preserve the medieval atmosphere. In Christabel too, the diction is as homely and simple as that of The Ancient Mariner. Miley's, the last point, his treatment of nature. Coleridge possessed a faculty of minute and subtle observation, which he may have learned in the first instance from Wordsworth, but which, says one, he fostered to a degree of delicacy to which neither Wordsworth himself nor perhaps any other worshipper of nature, Keats excepted, ever quite attained. The attention to the minute detail may be seen in the thin grey cloud is spread on high, it covers but not hides the sky, the moon is behind and at the full, and yet she looks both small and dull. Or in the western sky and its particular tint of yellow-green, with his power of minute observation, Coleridge combined a mastery of broad general effects, which is revealed, for example, in the description of the ice fields or the tropical ocean in the ancient mariner, like Wordsworth and Shelley. Coleridge too gives a life to nature, but in his poetry, nature was not separate from us as Wordsworth and Shelley held. Nature was ourselves. The apparent world, writes Stopford Brooke, was but the image of our own thoughts, but those thoughts and therefore the apparent world were part of the life of the Great Spirit. In Him, we and the universe were both alive. Nature lived to Coleridge because he lived. For this reason, Peter speaks of a sympathetic coordination in Coleridge's poetry between man and nature. Thank you.